start there. What are the set needs? And then what kind of education system do they call? And therefore, what kind of teacher is required for that system? You see where I'm coming?
I would agree. I'll share the link for this Google Doc. I've opened it. I'm sharing it now. But I'll share it so that we can just click on it and type into it directly. I'll put it in the chat. Or should I put it on WhatsApp?
You can put just a Google link. You can send a link.
Yeah, everyone can access that one.
But one thing, Martin, I think what we have agreed and going where we are going, I think we is like we already settled on the teacher-professor development, yeah?
Yeah.
That's where we're coming. Is it so, Prof. Nyanja? And because I know, and I think from what Professor Gatune is putting here, the whole idea of professor development can be overarching. If we get a good title that would direct us to whatever he's terming as the future of work, in a way you will see that we shall also be treating the issue of well-being, because the future of work, what can we say is basically where we the traditional expectation that we have always had. There are those ones that
Your voice is breaking, son. I don't know if it's my side or. But it's breaking a lot.
Oh yeah. Sorry. So what I'm saying, can you hear me, Martin?
Yeah, I can hear now.
So what I'm saying, I think we have already said an overarching topic or title to take over. So we can remove the teacher well-being from the equation now. That's my suggestion. I don't know what the others feel.
If we find it necessary, the teacher well-being can be addressed in the context of digital and online learning, because given what Professor Gatune is sharing with us, that when we start looking at the teacher that is going to be in future, given the current teacher that we have with the complex and different shift in their methodology, then the issue of online burnouts, online issues related to online well-being will be an issue here. And it's not something which is far from us, because we have gadgets, we have phones, we have even the way we use the phones socially. You'll find the well-being of a teacher overwhelming, even from the social status of applying the phones, even in our social networks. It's already having a bearing on the well-being of teachers. So if we have to examine this, and I don't think we can pick a section of a theme and we say, for this theme, we will actually look at this because of this, because we have a central theme which is in the title. We can look at the title vis-a-vis the themes that we are going to touch on, or the guiding theme. Then others can actually be themes that are going to support. Who knows? Maybe Ethiopia will come and say, no, this well-being, we can now exploit in this direction. And remember, the call is looking at a proposal which can actually inform policy and practice in many on a higher impact. And a higher impact means we may find a theme which Kenya has a subsection of that theme which is of interest. But another country has picked that theme, but is exploring something which is different. And when we come now to analyze the impact, we'll see the impact even from what the other countries, picked can also apply to Kenya and can also inform some practices in Kenya. That's the impact. That's the kind of proposal that this code is looking for.
Although maybe, Professor Nyanja, maybe I would ask maybe to push a bit. Sometimes it's easier just to say this is what we are going to do and let people join. Because people, it's always easy. A lot of people who don't have a problem. If you develop and you go, they will adjust themselves. So if we can just, in a way, concretize and say, this is it. Because I think for the purpose of moving ahead, I think we can say this is an interest that we kind of know that it cuts across all countries. And they will, and somebody from whichever country probably will be interested. And we kind of set the agenda. We decide, we say this is the agenda, this is the issue we have to, although we don't want obviously to sound like we are imposing and such, but sometimes it helps to almost do something and then let other people join. People find it easier that way.
Can I suggest an agenda based on what Gatune is saying? It's an agenda, like you said, is cutting across. It's not a debate. We all agree on it. But the way I'll say it is almost juakali, because I'm not an educationist. But I'll say it, and then we can panel beat it into something meaningful. But the agenda is this one, which I think is universal, not only from a pedagogist's perspective, but also from a technologist perspective, is that indigenous ways of learning are actually sidelined when we build curriculums, when we implement systems, when we implement technologies. Indigenous knowledge is usually by the way. Even now with CBC, I mean, maybe I stand corrected, but the CBC is being implemented, but the African values are actually in the back office. They're not in the front. What they put in the front is this SDGs, those global strategic goals. But what I'm really saying is that knowing that, maybe the question could be in a rough way, can we find or can we identify and even develop indigenous, let's say indigenous strategies for learning that can be relevant going forward in a digital, technological future? So what we're really asking is, how can we insert African behavior, African culture into the learning space in ways that are meaningful to us? And why it matters is because the Spanish, the Europeans, the Americans, the Chinese, they can't do it. They don't know what is important to the African, but we can do it. So that we can look at it not only in the classroom, but in the management of the classroom. We can look at it not only from a pedagogical perspective, but from a technological perspective. So that becomes the overriding issue. So that can be a starting point, which is agreeable to all of us. We all know.
And Martin, let me just read you, because this is exactly what it says in this part of pedagogical. It says the alignment of curricula with the contemporary education needs, societal norms, integration, pedagogical critical what, bridging gap between academic and practical education field. When they say societal norms, it's for us to define, because what kind of society do you want? Because that provides that room. That theme provides a room, because you say we want society to respect our values. We want societies to respect our languages, to keep our languages intact. We want to bring back knowledge. We want to bring certain values. At the same time, we want to keep with technology and so on. So once you define those society needs, and you say this is the society that we want, this is the society. Obviously, these are the big trends that are going, because technology, those are mega trends, global mega trends, which we have no control of. But it's also within that, we also something that we want to get out. We want to keep certain values. We want to bring back indigenous knowledge, or we want to revitalize indigenous knowledge. We want to make sure that we keep our languages and so on. And we have these tools. Yeah, now they're even language, AI is, they're actually now going to developing what we call large language, almost instantaneous interpretation that you don't need to know English to learn. Yeah. Because once, and we want to incorporate all these other people, and you even define who is a teacher, because in the end, the teacher becomes a part of many people. They could be storytellers long ago who taught. They can also be part of the education system and such. Once you say this is the kind of a society we want, then the next question becomes, what kind of an education system is fit for that society? Then once you say that, then it says which kind of teachers are required for that society, because then it answers what your question you're saying.
So what?
Because you have already defined from a societal needs and say this is what we should, this is what we want, this is the kind of society we want. But this society is constrained by whatever we want. Obviously, we have to be cognizant that the world is also moving in a certain direction. So within those frameworks, yeah, how can we optimize it?
Okay. So can I ask then, what would be the research, just a research question that we can say is our starting point, overarching like that?
I can open it up. It's, I cannot think of anything. We can bring someone up research questions, but
I think where we can start from, where we can start from, because I like what Prof. Gatuna is saying, because technically this is the opportunity, I think, Martin and our other friends, for us to come in and point to technology, because with this opportunity whereby everybody now is coming in and trying to claim a part of the technology, the AI and all that, it would be the best opportunity for us in Africa and also in Kenya and everywhere else to also own this part of AI. And once we own this part of AI, definitely all the other things are going to fall in place. The teacher is going to become proud because in a way he will understand what AI is, what AI can do, and also have part of the content in the AI. Therefore, that idea whereby we are saying we can now fit into the whole context of the future of work, because in a way, whoever is going to control AI today is the one who is going to control that future of work tomorrow. So I think any topic that we settle in should be that with that mind of technology. The other day I told you guys, UNESCO came out very strongly and said what teachers in every part of the world needs are the AI competencies. And these AI competencies were defined as, first of all, they have to understand how to use AI. Secondly, they have to understand how they can generate content, or how they can build up the AI themselves. They have to know that AI without humanization will spoil the ethical issues and all that. So I think that's a good discourse to me, and we can pick it. And from I think from the title that Prof. Gatuna had alluded, because when he started, he gave a title. From there, we can narrow down to the research question and all that. That's my thinking.
I just want to ask or to add, whatever we are talking about, when I'm reading theme 2, the focus area number 2, that talks about inclusiveness in teacher professional development. It also mentions technology, integration of technology, and mentions issues surrounding culture and language expressly. And I think when we are talking of inclusiveness, it will also allow us to incorporate disability. How do we prepare our teachers to teach children who are exceptional? So I just don't know how we can delink focus 1 and 2.
So what you're proposing is a kind of integrated approach.
Yeah, what I'm seeing is that when we are talking about inclusiveness in teacher education, it is so encompassing, and allow us to explore many areas, including technology, issues about exceptionality, culture, language. Yeah.
Okay.
Although that what I was trying to say, the moment you say what society needs are, what do you want? We want an inclusive society. We want a society that cares about values, cares about indigenous, or cares about, if you can, we can define the kind of society we want, then can we then be able to say what kind of an education system does a society need?
Yeah.
And then what kind of teachers do we need? Then, because then now we now come to what kind of a curriculum and teacher development program can be produce such a teacher for that education system?
Yeah.
Because if we define inclusiveness as one of the society needs that we want to address, it gets captured there, isn't it?
It does, yeah. And it's an interesting thing. You know, terms like inclusiveness it's coined in the West. It's coined in the West. So
Yeah.
as Africans, we are born to be inclusive, because as you know, if we were not inclusive, even this conversation would not be happening if we were not. So we are, because we are diverse. But you know, in the West, they're not diverse. They're more monolithic. But here we are very diverse. So in a way, even some of these terminologies, when we use them, like inclusiveness, to me, always sounds like a foreign word. We probably need to define what we mean by inclusiveness if we're going to use it, so that we are clear, this is what we are saying. We are diverse. How do we even survive? I mean, the world should be asking us, especially the East and the West, how does Africa maintain its diversity? Even Kenya, because Kenya, we are very diverse. I think if we were Europeans, we would have had that World War III would have broken out already. So we have something. And the question you're raising here is interesting. What is the society we want? I think if we ask it from our perspective, and we're quite deliberate about it, we'll come up with things that are going to contribute to knowledge in some ways. People will never have heard of them before. You see, for example, one of the goals of education, I think where you are in Europe, is to create an individual that is autonomous. I mean, for me, when I work with the, in Tibet, the goal of education amongst the Tibet groups in the West is to create autonomous learners, people who are independent. But that's not the goal here. The goal here is to create someone who's integrated. So there's a difference.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So when you ask what is the society you want, it's going to capture some of those things.
Yeah. But that's a question that we need to integrate and say, what you can critique the current education system. And I agree with you totally that it is not geared towards building societies. It's geared towards building an individual who becomes somebody for people to look up to, becomes somebody almost removed from. Actually, the education process was actually designed to remove you from your society and to make you a useful tool for the colonial project. Because you are not tied to your society, even the language and what, everything was designed to make you that different person and to build that autonomous individual. And the other day I was actually UNESCO meeting. We're bringing a point that even education, for example, me and you, we were doing engineering. You find that our engineering schools are designed to solve engineering problems, not to solve society problems. So when I'm doing my project as an engineer, I'm more excited about the engineering challenge as opposed to the society challenge. So I'll try to do something very complicated, but not useful, rather than do something simple, but useful.
Yeah.
And those are the ideas. And that's what we need to be able to capture as the basic needs. Because if we can capture those as the needs that we want, because as we say, when you are going to change, for example, if you think of Japan, when Japan decided to modernize, because they were forced to modernize, other countries modernize under duress. You modernize under European, so you modernize in the wrong way. You build wrong institutions, you build everything wrong. That's why you find that you're not developing. But Japan said, Western methods, Japanese spirit. In terms of that was their theme. And they said, we will keep our value, we'll find a way to keep our value. Yeah, these methods are useful and they can work. So it's the same thing. AI is useful, technology is useful, things are useful. But in what context do you want to put it? How do you build that society that we're talking about, Martin, and remove this? Yeah, we have to say, because yes, we know that we are no longer as inclusive as, whether we like it or not, we are not inclusive. That's why we have fences nowadays. If you go to any town, we have very big, huge fences. We don't want people to see. But long ago, if you put such long fences, people will wonder, what's wrong with you? Why is it? What are you hiding? It's like, so the question is, if we want to build that inclusive society, we say that this is the society we want. If we can start that question, say, bring all those things, bring all those values, but at the same time, competitive society, because you have to compete in a world of competition. Then what is the education system that supports that?
So we're talking
and what kind of
a kind of value-based, indigenous-driven education.
I think we put all those things together. It has to be indigenous value, but it also have to combine modern knowledge, because we have to accept. Because sometimes also when we talk of indigenous knowledge, sometimes we forget it is still knowledge that some of the scientific knowledge we have now came from indigenous knowledge. It's just that the purpose, science is a different way of packaging knowledge. Indigenous way, there are different ways of knowing. To appreciate there are different ways of knowing. Science is one way of knowing, indigenous way is one way of knowing. People can know in various ways. And to bring all those things that we know, this is how we came, Africans came to know something in a different way. So the question is, if you can bring that and say, this is how the things that we would want to see in an education system. If you can be able to define that clearly.
Yeah, I think I'm understanding. So as a strategy for documenting, this Google Docs now everyone can access. I've made it open. And what we could do is everyone can come in and write their version of what we are saying here. And then the challenge can be by tomorrow.
Martin.
Yes.
Martin, yes. I want to believe that we are beyond now everyone saying something that is different. Because if you open up the Google Doc, people will put everything. But I think what I'm picking now is a kind of agreement, and I want also the two other scholars to come on board. The agreement that we are having here, and I can get it from what Prof. Katuna is saying, and now what you are agreeing to, is that yes, we are going to define what society we need or we want based on what is happening going forward, because we cannot separate ourselves from what is happening.
Yeah.
Those values that you're talking about, the indigenized values, definitely I know you want to come up with the idea of oneness, good citizenships, morally upright people. Those are the things that we would desire, things that will create an orderly society. Those are things that technology is going to help us achieve. Because today, I'm sure you don't want to teach your child or your boy about the indigenous language. He might not be so much interested, but there are values that maybe we want to impart, and those values can be hastened through the use of technology. So ideally, we are agreeing on one thing, that if we formulate a good title here, that would pick the idea of pedagogy, then the technology, and all those ideas of fitting in the society. Definitely, we shall move on in one direction. So I think that's the way we should pick, and it will interest everyone else, because today you look at what's happening. It's so unfortunate anyway. We kick out technology from our learners in primary school and secondary schools. When they come at home, you cannot remove them from it, because they are overusing it. They want to, these are things that would have been taught in school, and also how to deal with it ethically. So that is what we want as education. We want an education that will result to an ethical person, a morally upright person, a good citizen, an orderly person. That's generally why we invest in education, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. For me, I agree. maybe as a next step, what I can help with is to document it in a way that can be the starting point. Just what we have.
There's a title that Prof. Gatune had given. If you can write it down there, what you had stated, Prof. Maybe that one can also direct us into thinking.
Gatune is saying this one.
What did I write?
No, there was something started on with the pedagogical issues and all that.
I'm highlighting what I hear you saying all the time.
The title I said, that was just part of the project. That is, it's there in the, just one of the themes. So
just write it down. If you can pick it.
The theme was, it says, it was the theme is pedagogical innovations and curriculum development in teacher education programs. That is the one we have put there.
Yeah, put it there. That one can help us into what we are thinking.
Yeah.
Dr. Karanja, there's something that I asked you concerning the partnership. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, right. I believe I put it across, and of course, before we end this, we shall also have to agree the idea of having, of course, one partner who is not in the mainstream. That is because Rael is finding herself now on the opposite side. So we must get away a formula of bringing her to the mainstream. That is being part of the partner. So either she is adopted by Open University or Technical University of Kenya or the ministry. Those are the options that we have now. If we are going to have the formula that we have, 3 Kenyan organizations, maybe 2 Ethiopians and 2 European. I don't know how you feel about that, Prof. Gatune, because there's a time you say that.
Because even as I can have the way we do our program, we can also put us, but whichever is easier, even it can part with, because it's a question of just putting you and our team is also not that hard. In terms of the practicality of doing it, that one is also possible. Because to be part of the Maastricht team, you don't have to be employed by Maastricht. We always work with teams, people from different organizations. We just put them as as our associates.
So okay. Right, you now make a choice. Do you come to the ministry? Do you go to OUK? Do you go to Maastricht?
I think now I have so many options. Actually, the problem is they don't. The activities are done by the associates are not legible cost. So that means that with the Kenyan context and the finances, I literally do nothing. So that's why I reached out to Dr. Karanja.
Yeah. So if you come and ask, you just be as part of a consultant. We just give you a contract. That's it.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you.
So now that we are beyond that, I think when we are forming, because ideally, I think in the contract part of whatever we shall sign, that's where of course every issue will be taken on board. So Prof. Nyonje seems to have disappeared. I don't know what direction you want to give us, Professor Gatune.
No, let me and Martin. I think I can write the past motivating. Yeah.
I've not disappeared. I'm just listening to.
You had disappeared from our screens, actually. Even me, I didn't see you for some time. I don't know where you've gone. Oh, yeah. I think because of the way the screen is, you have to scroll.
Yeah, I've not disappeared. I'm just trying to figure out because I think Martin has discussed something which is very important. Professor Gatune has discussed also something very, very important. And I'm just trying to just concentrate and think, how can this look together and bring out the thematic issues that the proposal, the the call has highlighted, because the call demands that we are very clear on which themes we have picked on, as much as we will have a cross-cutting title. But this cross-cutting title, from the things that I've heard from Martini and things that I've heard from Professor Gatune, those are now things that the title should actually influence those themes in a certain direction. So that we will be saying, if, for example, we are talking about pedagogical, value-driven education, and maybe the future of technology, that is now a theme which, when we pick on, for example, teacher development, that teacher development should actually be coined to fit into that title, because now the title will be driving us. All of us will have a philosophy which is driving us and which should form that title. It's important that the title, we agree on it per se and say, this is what we believe in. And I want to agree with the Professor Gatune that we may not want to open maybe for people to come and pick something and run away with the other direction. Another one run into another direction. We have flow. And this flow, why I kept quiet, I was thinking that in the call, there is something which will be evaluated against. That whatever we have picked embraces either one theme or two or three, but also must make an impact which will be global impact. So it's not like Kenyan impact. It should be like, if we chose, we can actually say these East African countries are relating to this impact. And actually this impact can be used elsewhere, even in Europe, to develop how they view, and I like the debate, how they view a Kenyan or Rwanda or Ethiopia in terms of education. And that's why issues of AI are very important, because if you look at them, they have been picked and people are running with them as if other countries will not have no stake in them. I like that discussion because it is making a lot of sense, and it's what we need to say. Look, we have teacher development needs. And as we move into the future, the values that we have in terms of us as African have been abused before, and we need to correct as we move forward. That's why I'm finding it very interesting, and it has really touched my thinking in terms of even what we have. How have we looked at it in terms of, like now, teacher service commissioner has teacher development standard, teacher standards, teaching standards. They call them teaching standard. Kenya something teaching standards. Look at them. Maybe they were picked somewhere and just put here in terms of just guiding teachers. So we can actually have a chance to examine some of this model and then say, when we have AI and this other development coming, will this one fit? Okay. Then we have another model. We say, does what exists fit into the African indigenous knowledge and value? Then moving to this very crazy AI world and all that, does it complicate it already? So what is the nexus here? What should fit us? and how do we develop this? So eventually we'll have a product, we'll have models, we'll have frameworks. And these frameworks can impact either across Africa and can also be used elsewhere. That's what I was thinking, and it's not like I wasn't participating, but I was listening very carefully and just reflecting.
Yeah, I think that's very good, Prof. I think you've actually summarized what we should be doing. So I think we can close at this point, but in a way, have something to start working on. I don't know what Martin has for us to start working on.
Yeah, I'm what I'm doing. So I'm working with this big title here because it's very simple, but we need to, of course, give it some flesh. The one that Katune was saying, what is the society we want? But it gives us now the direction.
Martin.
Oh, sorry. You can't hear me.
Martin, are you there? We are not hearing you. You can unmute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. What? Sorry about that, boss. What I'm doing, I'm putting a kind of matrix or a kind of table here, which can just help with isolating the issues. What I got from our discussion is that we can't move away from both themes. Whichever theme we choose, it becomes primary, but the alternative theme is going to have to be treated as cross-cutting or secondary, but they have to both be acted. So I'm putting here teacher wellness. So I thought maybe a title will evolve out of it if we isolate or list the different focus points or focus areas, what Rael is talking about. On one side under TPD or TPD, and then the other side under TW, teacher wellness. And then we now, from there, write something that will, you can argue, represent that matrix. It's a beginning point only, but I don't know if people are able to think that way.
Martin, I think you're making it a bit complicated there.
Yeah.
Because first of all, anyway, we are just supposed to talk on one theme. That's what they said. First of all, we don't need to show explicitly we are talking the other theme. There's a specific instruction. You choose one theme and you work on that theme. So when we work on a theme, let's be clear that we are working on this theme. If they come and let they come, it's not because we specifically wanted construction to show that it comes out.
I get you.
Let's just say the issue.
Yes.
And let's give the story.
Yes.
First of all, we say, why do we need education? If we just think of a storyline.
Yeah.
What is the purpose? Why do we need education? Yeah.
Yeah.
Either we can say human development, education and knowledge is central to human development. Yeah. And that's how humans have moved forward.
Yes.
And traditionally, education has been imparted, or knowledge has been imparted in various ways. An education system it's a formal way of imparting knowledge, but also developing knowledge.
Yeah.
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 But we say that the next thing is that we know that now the world is on a cusp of what you might call we say, okay, in a way, it is a way of imparting knowledge and a way of developing knowledge, because these are key input to social human development and wellness.
Yeah.
But at the same time, education systems maintain, or I say, they help maintain whatever we have, because as we impart knowledge, we keep things, I guess you can talk of whatever system that we have running. And therefore, education systems tend to reflect the way the society has developed. But we say occasionally things change. New technologies or new shocks or whatever, they create what you might call points of inflection, and things change. An education system, the people who have the most flexible education systems are the ones who thrive. That's why you can say civilizations collapse, because some civilizations, the education systems become inflexible, they don't change. And you can show that Ottoman Empire collapsed because at one time they were the most advanced in science and so on. Then they decided that that whatever religion was more important than knowledge, and so on and so on. So they were left behind as the first industrial revolution came. Rather, people picked. But at the same time, we say, much as education was responsible for bringing forth, you can say, education in the first industrial revolution, education system also came to be shaped by the same. And therefore, we have a current education system that reflects more or less the way we thought. But now we are saying we are moving into a fourth industrial revolution that is characterized by a different way of working. And we can try to show the various types of revolutions that have happened and how education has been. Because if you think of the agrarian revolution, there was, but knowledge was mostly passed through practice, through knowledge, through indigenous ways. That's how we came to learn. But then we have, then now you go to the next, and we say now that we know that we're in a cusp of a new revolution that is driven by AI, new energy, and those other things, and we are calling it the fourth industrial revolution. The question then becomes, is education fit for purpose for that? And all this, and you can also say education by themselves, you can also bring those other issues that beyond education can support society, but depending on how education is structured, it might not support society in its fullness, because it can support society in some aspects, maybe provide knowledge, maybe give you the necessary technological skills to do, but you might lose something else. And you can bring the idea that in Africa, our education system has given us this, but we have lost indigenous knowledge. For example, we know in Kisii they used to do brain surgery, but now they can't do it. But they do it. They had the indigenous knowledge to do a full operation, cancer operation, remove things in the head and people, and it was almost 99% success rate. But we don't have that knowledge anymore because it was demonized, and our educators were called witch doctors. They were called even names like now in a Kiswahili name, Muganga is a doctor. In Tanzania, if you go to a doctor's to see a doctor, it's written Muganga. But in Kenya, if you call a doctor Muganga, he'll be very angry with you. He'll think that you're abusing him. Yet that is the actual name in our language. But because that name was so destroyed in the process of our education, we think Muganga in a derogatory manner. We don't think Muganga is actually the name for a medical doctor, So you need to break those things and say that obviously there is need for reform in education because the world is changing, and we appreciate the world is changing. We are going into a different economic system, more green revolution, and we are going into digital revolution, the so-called, you can call it the twin transition. This transition will call for certain types of skills and certain types of values. And we can define, these are the things that we would want. If society is going to thrive in this world, these are the things that will be needed. And you can show how technology can go right, how technology can go wrong. And therefore, we can now build the story that the education system will need to be reformed in this and this kind of ways. But we know the leaders in the education system are the teachers. And therefore, this has implications for teacher development and teacher training, teacher development. And therefore, we will need innovations. Innovations in curriculum, innovation in pedagogy, innovations in peers. And therefore, what we would want to investigate is what are these innovations that will be required to create that teacher of the future that we have to start now. Once we build that story, we don't have to worry about these other things. They will come in their own way. Because to me, I think what matters a lot is what is the story? How do we build that story? And that to me becomes a bit simpler. And we are hitting one theme already. We are teaching teacher development, but in a sense of, we are talking of teacher development in the context of preparing a teacher for a different world that we know is coming, that we want to be prepared. Because we can make the argument, countries that get left behind. Because once a revolution happens, you don't change, you get left behind. The current struggle between China and US is about China understands the next world is about new energy, is about AI, is about what? US has said, we will prevent you from getting certain technology. China has said they have to be lead. And they are gearing the education systems towards that world. Because that is the ones who will be lead. We say we have to be ready for that, because one of the things that will be for ready for that world, and we have done some work in this area, is getting the infrastructure, education system right, infrastructure right, innovation system right, and so on right. So we can say that's the pillar that you want to fill. We don't have to go into that, but we just have to say, yes, education is a basis for change, for transformation. And education systems have to transform themselves. They drive transformation, but they also have to transform themselves to be able to be fit for that world. And I think that should be fit for a concept note. And then you can identify these are the things that need to be done.
Okay.
I'm thinking this. The story that a prof has just narrated, you've been taking it you've taken some notes. This table that you are creating, one column to have the themes that we may want to speak at, two. So we can have the title on top and then the themes that we may want to pick at. And I think Prof says one theme. Now, the story you have here, you form another column, you put that, and you title it justification. And then the next one, you have a column where now you can actually say the outcome, what we are anticipating now should come out of this. This will form a concept which we can now share. We just say maybe on capacity building, the teacher development, if we are picking that, so what aspect in the first column? And then justification, or what we are sometimes called statement of the problem, is what Prof has actually been has actually explained in the second column. And then I don't know whether we need to go to another step. Maybe we can have a column where we can say some of the research questions that we are thinking of pursuing, we list them just in that order. We will have formed a story which we can share by tomorrow. I think it's making sense. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, it's fair enough.
I think you've nailed it, Prof. Nyonje. Yeah, exactly. That's we have that outline. We shall have the whole concept. So we can leave all the other things, Martin, because you see, you don't want to go back to separating the two themes again. Let us deal with this one that we have here and
okay.
to build it. And I don't know whether you are capturing. Actually, that story by Prof. You see already is something. So if you are capturing even in AI, you can pick 1, 2, 3 things and. We enrich that, because exactly it is showing us where we are coming from, where we are heading to, and how this education will respond now to the future of work and all that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we'll have to rewrite. Maybe after this meeting, we'll rewrite it now based on how we have discussed. We'll rewrite Prof's story so that it comes out. And this template that Nyonje has proposed is an interesting one, but it can be helped to give us now the structure. So I think we have a starting point, and then once we share, we can all just edit it. I think we can all be co-editors so that it now is panel beaten properly into place. So after this meeting, I will write that whatever we've agreed in terms of a starting point, and then we can panel beat it into place.
No, alternatively, I know, Prof. Katuna, maybe you can, if you give us half a page or 1 page of that story, then as the educationists in the room can now pick up and.
Okay, I'll write something and share.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that would be okay, Martin.
I will write what I've just said. Put it.
Yeah, sure. That would fit in there.
It's okay, but you're giving him Kazi. I've already captured what he has said. I've recorded it. So.
Oh, okay.
I can use the recording to write a transcription, and then it will save him trouble.
Great.
He needs to eat something. One.
Yeah. So once you record, I think this is available to everybody.
Yeah,
we can actually just go through and just highlight.
Yeah.
It's a Google Doc, yeah?
But you'll transcribe, you said, yeah?
Yeah, I'll transcribe. So this one, I was just trying to write notes, but I'm not writing fast enough. So I record it, and then what I'll do, I'll do a transcription, and I'll put it here, so that we just, you can come in and from there develop the proposal.
Fine. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
I can even share the recording, so I can do both. I'll transcribe, but I'll also share the recording.
So is it possible we have the thing tomorrow? Then Prof. Gatune hands it to Elizabeth, who will now use it as we said here.
Yes, I think it's possible. So what we can do, I think maybe give it 2 hours for me to record and put the transcription together, everything. I mean, the recording is done, but I have to upload it. So I share that within 2 hours. And with that, on this same page, because I've shared this page with everyone, I'll delete what is here and then put the transcription. And now we can start the proposal from there. The story of Gatune will be here, plus other suggestions. That can be an authentic, objective way of doing it, because now the outcome of this meeting will be here on this page. Then we
and from that story, can we get a title then that would guide?
Yeah, I think the title will emerge, Mzee. I'm thinking the kind of, if you want consensus, it will emerge from the when you write the proposal, the title will come.
Although it helps, although Martin, it helps to have a title. People think when they have something, even if even a title that doesn't work, it triggers thinking. Because otherwise we tend to be, I can suggest something, but we can suggest some titles right now and then see. And then provide some working titles you can suggest, because for me, I can give a very long title,
No,
Preparing Africa for the future of work.
I like this one of yours, Gatune. What is a society we want? Because it's what has evolved a lot of discussion, this one. Even though it's simplistic.
Somehow, but that is for me, I would want maybe to be more directed to it, because we say, really we're talking of preparing the African teacher for future of work, implications for pedagogy and curricula in teacher education programs. That's to me, because that captures, it goes with with this title, because, what is the society we want is one of the sub-questions that comes under it. Because for us to say,
Martin, if that could be written, that would be a very good guiding title. But I'm also thinking that what is in our mind, what should be the product that should come out of this, so that when we have the title is now speaking to that product which we are thinking. For example, we can actually just say building a modern teacher, then building a modern teacher, and then we put colony or semi-colony, and we say now the things that we want to go into this teacher. For example, issues of what Martin was mentioning, the issues of value, the issues of pedagogy. We can lump them now after that. So when we build this, building a modern teacher, or we can actually decide that the product of this research will be either a framework, plus a number of things. Then we'll be speaking to that. A framework for building a modern teacher, something like that, so that we know. Yes.
Yeah, I think you are getting somewhere. When we say building a modern teacher, then we put a column and say implications for pedagogy and the curriculum. Would we not at least that one can help us now pick all these other issues that we are thinking?
Yeah.
Is it
an implication for value-based pedagogy and technological advancement, something like that.
Value-based pedagogy, But you also want to bring in the curriculum issue.
I thought curriculum captures pedagogy and curriculum. Like the curriculum is an implementation of pedagogy. I imagine, because pedagogy are those stories
No,
you are using.
no, pedagogy implements the curriculum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can mention that, but when we mention that, we know we will go into the curriculum, because pedagogy does not make sense. We normally talk about pedagogy even in the curriculum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will examine it now in the curriculum. How does the pedagogy looks like? Not necessarily there. We will also look at how does the pedagogy look like in the teacher development, for us to get some information which we can now into this framework.
But you see, if you look at the title where their sub-theme, they said, the sub-theme here, they say pedagogical innovations and curriculum development in teacher education program. Meaning they think that pedagogical innovations is something and curriculum development is something. I don't know. Myself, I can't say I know the difference. I thought they were kind of the same. But I think you can, honor is a working title, so it doesn't matter.
They're different in this sense, eh? They are different in this sense. Of course, pedagogy is the art of teaching, and curriculum is that the content itself. So, in a way, we have to also bring some curriculum somewhere in the whole.
Yeah, I think so, because if curriculum is a content and pedagogy is the art, there are different people can teach in different ways. So you can have the same curriculum implemented in different ways, isn't it? That's what you mean. You can have people who are innovative in the way they teach. Maybe they do poems, other do what, other do theater, other do rote learning. I don't know. But I'm saying for now, I think it's good enough to have it that way because it's a placeholder. We'll still, and as I said, it helps thinking. Once you have something, then you can have other working titles over time. You can also, people can suggest other potential titles.
All right. So we,
I wanted to. Yeah.
Just go.
So, Prof. Nyonje has mentioned the modern teacher. I don't know how it would feel if we said teacher preparation in transitional culture. So transitional culture here, where we are neither modern, Western, nor really traditional, but we are trying to prepare our teachers to be responsive for the two cultures, the two diverse cultures.
how would you say it, Ryan?
I've said that teacher, I don't know whether the word preparation applies, teacher preparation in transitional culture.
Okay.
So here we are cognizant of the Western civilization or culture, and we are also acknowledging the African cultural context. So we would want to prepare our teachers to be responsive to both cultures in all the issues that we've mentioned so far.
Okay. So what do you call that kind of?
Instead of tech advancement, why can't we just say value-based, and innovative pedagogy, so that innovation will be swallowed there, the advancement will be swallowed there.
Value-based and?
Value-based, innovative pedagogy, and then these others can follow.
Can we talk about authentic curriculum? Because we are also thinking about this curriculum really should be the one that because Prof. Nyonje, what we want to do is we want to enter to bring curriculum somewhere.
Yeah, but innovative pedagogy will actually automatically imply.
Yeah, because you've said that the pedagogy happens or is implemented within the framework of the curriculum. You can't implement
it. It implements the curriculum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. The issue I would have with the Ryle title is it's unfortunate that we seem not to be in the transition anymore, because when you look at what is happening today, already we have been pushed out of the transition, and we are already exposed to modernity. So I think the only way we can discuss about the transition is trying to pick up the critical issues in our African context and bring them in now where we are.
What does she mean by transitional culture, though? Right. Maybe she can explain what a transitional culture means.
So what I meant by transitional culture, when we are looking at our African context, we cannot purely say that now we are westernized. We have a bit of the Western culture, but at the same time, we also still stick to our African ways of being. And therefore, it means that we are in between the two cultures. And that's why I call it transitional culture.
I see. So that's why you're saying it's also recognized both the indigenous and the Western culture, or the global culture, whatever it is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Africans as a people, we cannot say that we are purely traditional.
No.
And we can also not say that we are purely Western. And even as we are talking here, we are saying that we need to integrate the indigenous knowledge into our curriculum and pedagogy. And therefore, it means that we are swinging in between. So that's why instead of talking of purely African, then it means that we are in some transition.
So
my thinking would have been in one of the objectives, maybe we can bring that African context and show how maybe significant it would be in the modern teacher, because at the end of the day, our context is African. So what we need to do is to contextualize this modern, just as we're saying, we need to contextualize the AI, we need to contextualize the technology. So I wouldn't think it would be important for us to be so explicit in the title.
Okay.
Because here we have several contexts that we are approaching, but one of the objectives or research question should speak to this idea of the African indigenous knowledge and how the value in it. That's my taking. I don't know.
Okay. So how, even if we have said that the working title will change, which one do we start with so that we can have a starting point?
Let me give us another working title, maybe. We can have, I think we just stay there for now. People can digest it with time. We don't have to, I guess.
So which one are you saying, Gatune?
I'm okay with even the first one. Okay, it was just a suggestion, but I'm okay.
No, let's the suggestions stay. I think we can have 3 or 4 working titles and see.
Okay.
You don't have to.
We don't have to have one. Okay. So this one's incomplete. So you're saying the second part here, value-based innovative pedagogy, we can just complete, then we have that one.
No, the first one, the after the semicolon, is it the full colony?
Yeah.
Those are things that we are listing down that will go into that framework. So we have to complete them. So either we can say a framework for building a modern teacher, then we can either say perspective, value-based, innovative pedagogy, and something else perspective, so that we are very clear that these are things, variables that will actually be examined, and all of them will give information that will now bring out that framework, and we could have several framework. For example, we could be asking what values, what innovative pedagogy, and whatever we'll add there inform the African-based or the countries that we are studying best framework for building a modern teacher. So after the full colony, the variables we are putting there, they are variables that will be now under study, that will help us to craft way forward for a modern teacher. including even examining and saying what would be the best teacher standards, which aligns to the global frameworks that we have, that can explain a teacher within the countries of study based on their value, and we integrate these values with the innovative pedagogy, because the innovative pedagogy that we are calling here, they have already been baptized by somebody. So are they innovative from the perspective of Africa? So we could have a number of frameworks that will come out. One which can actually align our understanding and how now a future teacher can align to AI. One which can enable a teacher align with the values, African values, align themselves to what is in quotes called innovative pedagogy, and how the curriculum can actually be built to fit now to fit the framework that we may propose after collecting data. That's what I'm thinking. And what I'm thinking is that we can leave it this, but as we leave the way the first one is, we know that these value-based and innovative pedagogy approaches, we need, if there is any variable that is left out, we can embed it here so that we clarify and say, these are now the framework must align itself to what we understand in our context as those variables. So we can have it as working. But the other table, we can generate it.
Yeah.
Yes, go on.
What I'm saying, okay, maybe we can have another twin of the Nyonje's title. Maybe we can just write it this way. Just copy and yeah, can say a framework for, okay, a twin for Professor Nyonje's title, a framework for building.
Yeah, this one, a framework for IC of this one. Okay.
I think you
Just
undo. I think, yeah.
Oh, I got rid of.
Just undo.
Okay.
You just you add the thing. Just stay there first.
Okay. Like that.
So a framework for building a modern teacher, humanized, just start with the word humanized. Humanized, comma, ethical, value-based and innovative pedagogical approach. So the reason why I'm bringing in the idea of humanized and ethical is where we are heading to, because we're saying at the end of the day, the pedagogy or the technology that we're going to use must have the human element. There's no way they are going to be beyond the human. The human aspect should be critical. Then the ethical issues should also be well taken care of, because at the end of the day, we don't want to have biases in whatever we adopt. We want to remove the biases, and we want to ensure that at least there's that idea of serving the social good. So I don't know what you think about that, Prof. Nyonje, among the issues that we want to form this framework.
I have a question, Karanja. Like now, what would be the difference? Do you see a difference between ethical and value-based?
I don't know. I don't know whether there's a difference, but ethical, of course.
That's what I wanted to react, because when you say value-based, this humanized, ethical, those are part of the values.
Oh, they are the part of value.
We will actually examine so many other values, including those values that have been listed to be included in CBC.
Okay.
Because this is what teachers are speaking to, and they are actually inculcating in our children. We'll examine them and say, these values moving forward, are they going to stifle the education system in future, where now they will want now to move to another set We have been having a lot of issues. This CBC thing is not like we can say that it is a new one. It's not. 844 had that nature because it was to be practical in nature. But where we lost it, it's about the values that we hold as implementers. So we need to examine some of these values listed as CBC values. So moving forward, will they change? And will the teacher remain alone because there is a shift? Because we understand, and the way we understand things, we bring things on top so that we confuse each other. And we say that this is new, yet it's not new. For us, we are standardized with our values. So can we use the standardized values that we have to say, so that it's not something that is being imposed and like from another planet? It's something that is with us. We have believed it before.
Yeah.
Okay. So if
we agree that humanize and ethical, I think we can remove them and remain, because definitely they will fall in somewhere.
Okay. There's a question I had, which is another one. This word modern teacher, when you say modern, many people default to a kind of foreign teacher. The more foreign you are, the more modern you are. There's a misunderstanding of what we mean by modern. There was a word which I had Rael using, responsive teacher somehow. I don't know if there's a different term that can be used.
I also wanted to suggest a title, to modify that title a bit. I was thinking a framework for building a teacher for the fourth industrial revolution world. You're building a teacher for this world.
Okay.
4IR world.
Okay. Okay. You would have had a twin of the title, so that we assess both.
Yeah. I was saying a twin. Just another.
A framework for building a teacher for the 4AI world.
That's fourth industrial revolution.
It needs to
It's like saying the framework for building a fourth industrial revolution ready teacher.
Yeah, the other way title would have been preparing for the fourth industrial revolution. Yeah, building a framework for building.
Preparing teacher.
Okay. It could be the other way would have said preparing, because we are okay. What I would have, another title I would give is preparing for the fourth industrial for 4IR, or preparing for the 4IR world. You can even call it the digital transition, because it's actually twin transition. You can either call it 4IR world or twin transition, digital and green transition, because that is where we are going.
Yeah.
And green transition. Then I would say implications for pedagogy and curricula in teacher training. Implication for pedagogy and curricular development in teacher training, in teacher development, or whatever. For pedagogy and curricula, yeah. Although you said it's the same. And curricular development, curricula for teacher training.
I see curricula
for teacher development.
Yeah, pedagogy and implications for pedagogy and
curricular development in teacher training. I don't know whether about curricular in teacher development. I don't know whether it will be for pedagogy and curricular and teacher development or in teacher education programs.
Yeah, there's you see this curriculum. I see it as just one output of this research. I see it as an output actually, because there's content that can be an output. Even I see tools as being an output. In fact, tools is a very important output from a technological point of view. One of the weaknesses we have in Africa is that we don't invest in building our own tools. So when you start taking a tool from abroad and you try to use it to implement this curriculum or the pedagogy, you find you're forcing a hammer to do what a fork or a knife is supposed to do. It doesn't fit, it doesn't work. And that's part of the issue. So I wonder sometimes to what extent when are we going to start building our own tools? Someone said that, I think it was Nyonje, that there's a fight for, owning the AI. Or was it Gatuna who said that? You see, there's a reason for that fight. You are saying that? Yeah, you see, there's a reason for that fight. And uniquely, Africa is not in that fight. When COVID vaccine was being developed, all continents were developing, but Africa was not developing. We were not even developing a solution of any kind. So there's a sense in which I'm asking of education, because education is somehow pivotal. And when are we going to start developing tools and processes, and particularly tools that can implement this pedagogy that we're talking about? That's now how one way of looking at the development side of research, when we do a research and development exercise. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, what would happen is that we will come up with whatever, but we'll start implementing tools developed in other countries. And when we are implementing them, we're finding we're struggling again, not able to implement our culture. One of the struggles we have online with going online is simply implementing our own culture online. Just that. And I've seen, anyway, but that's other discussions. I'm just saying that maybe we need to think that way to some extent. But we have something. We can. It's a starting.
By the way, Martin.
Yes.
And are we talking about the teacher curricula or the curriculum that the teacher is implementing? Which one? So that we can be sure.
Oh, I see.
Because if it's
I think it's a teacher implication. To me, I think because this is about teachers, it's about developing teachers' professional development. So it's about how do you train teachers for that world.
I see.
Yeah. So if it's a teacher curriculum, then it has to be there. So it's actually
it was implication for pedagogy and curricular development in teacher education program.
Yeah.
For pedagogy and curricular development.
I remove this one teacher.
Pedagogy. Yeah.
Okay.
And you also have to say whether it's preparing teachers or it's preparing for the digital and green transition. You're preparing, as a country, to me, the first thing is that we are preparing for that transition.
I see.
And therefore, this has to have an implication for us to be ready to thrive in that world. What does it mean for teacher development?
Okay. So,
preparing for the digital and green transition. So that's the issue, eh? The digital.
Let's say digital and green transition or fourth industrial revolution. I don't know which sounds better. Because we are
okay, let me ask you. In the fourth industrial revolution, is the green transition taken care of?
Yes, there.
Okay.
Because we talk of industrial revolution, actually just preparing for the fourth industrial revolution, just rather than digital. Because it's more than digital. Fourth industrial revolution, for you to have a revolution, you change the way the energy you use, you change the transportation models, you change the communication system, you change the business model, you change everything. That's when you have a revolution.
Okay.
all right.
So you're saying, this one just says that the country is changing, but we need to. So what does it mean? What kind of teachers should we have to say? And it also implies that we need to be prepared. For us to be prepared, part of it is having teachers who are ready for that world.
Yeah.
So here, implication for pedagogy and curricular development in teacher education programs. It reads well. It has a spirit of what we are talking about. So we have how many titles now? 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, we only have 2. These other ones were just a work in progress.
So we can move them. The others.
Yeah. Okay. So
maybe we can get the similarities in the 2. So the first one was a framework for building a modern teacher, value-based and innovative pedagogical approach, and preparing for the fourth industrial revolution, implication for pedagogy and curricular development in teacher education programs.
Yeah. I'm thinking
The titles are similar.
some of these other things we're talking about, like values, can be a thematic cross-cutting,
Yeah.
document.
Yeah.
So we capture it in the write-up.
Yeah, sure. Otherwise, they are talking about the same thing, yeah?
Yeah, but you see here, we've left out a few things. But we have to capture them in the write-up.
The spirit. I'm saying the spirit is the same, because who is a modern teacher? A modern teacher is that one who is moving towards the fourth industrial revolution.
No, that's maybe according to you, but a modern teacher, according to, let's say, the Wazungu, might be someone who is more Mzungu. You see, sometimes sometimes somebody is saying that, I've sent my children to a modern school. What do you mean by modern school?
Actually, let's replace that with the future teacher. Something
Future
like
teacher.
that.
Future teacher.
Yeah. That one, yeah, that captures. That is not, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think with
Now,
those
the framework for building is the future teacher, not I think the, isn't it?
the future teacher, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we have something. See, we can sleep on this one, then we come back.
What we can do, I think what we do, let's sacrifice and say we use the first one. We just forget about these others. But we know in our mind we have these issues of other themes, which other titles, but somehow they will be harnessed somewhere in one way or another. But we just say for now, this is a placeholder for the ideas that will be now in that framework, that table which we have suggested and which Martin is going to improve. We look at it before you share. I think this is it.
So what you're saying is we take the first title and then the second title we capture as cross-cutting. We can capture it in the write-up.
Yeah, we can put it somewhere so that we don't lose it. But on top, we can just have the first one, a framework for building the future teacher. But this other one, can we have it somewhere so that we don't lose it?
Yeah, we have it there.
Yeah,
But
it will come. Prof. Nunja, I'm still feeling that when we miss curriculum in the second one, it will be one-sided. Someone will just think this teacher is just a teaching teacher, but
then we can actually say value-based, curriculum and innovative pedagogy. Pedagogical curriculum should be somewhere. Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
so of course.
But now you remember here we had qualified the curriculum to be a teacher education curriculum or curricula for the teacher. Now this one, it looks now.
No. We are not perfecting this, so we just have it a placeholder so that we don't lose that idea.
Okay.
Have it that way. We know there's something which we need to perfect.
Okay.
But for now, we can put it that way so that even those who are coming to see this concept, they will actually have something to start pondering on it.
All right. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll share the recording. I'll share the transcript for the recording. I'll have to clean it a bit, but I'll share that, and then maybe just try to reflect on a suggestion of a starting point based on our discussion, that this is what it is. Then it's a shared document, so we can all go in there and just write in what we have seen, so that by tomorrow lunchtime we have it in a rough way, but it's there with consensus. What I'm assuming is that everyone has a perspective. So when we're writing in, the perspectives are being catered for because everyone has their expertise. I don't know. That's still okay?
We don't have, by the way, perspective now have narrowed, because when you see even the two titles are speaking about the future teacher, so they will all flow,
Yeah, they should all flow. I mean, once you have the title, you're right. Now the perspectives can orientate to those titles. Yeah. But at least the next step is just to make sure the transcript's available, the recording is available, and then the starting point, even if it's a paragraph, is there, so that we can even edit that out. But it's just trying to egg people to carry on. And people who are not here can also participate, like Professor Opata.
No, yeah, you'll need a small statement just to guide Professor Opata when she joins. Yeah. Okay.
But just before we go, maybe this framework, the one for building the future teacher, we can just add a third using the rather than because for me, I feel like value-based curriculum innovative pedagogical approach is what you want to achieve. But to me, when I say implication this is what we're investigating, because you already assume that we'll need a value-based, you already decided that this is what you will need.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
But for me, I would want to say the title should always, I like the framework for building the future teacher. But to me, I think the second part should be, what do we want to do? Or what is the question you're asking? What does it mean? Because if I just add that and I do the implication, try the same title but with the second title of implications because that is what, yeah. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like that.
Yes. Because this is kind of follows with the actual theme that is in this. Because it says, yes, we want to build a future teacher. So what does it mean in terms of what? So if all these things that we are saying, value-based, innovative, and what, ideally will come out, because when we study what a modern future would look like, the actual implication will be, we'll need value-based, we'll need what, we'll need, I don't know. But anyway, I think we can keep them that. As we are saying right now, the idea is not to have a full title, it's just to play around until we see what works.
By the way, you're saying something very important, Prof. Gatuna there. Anyway, the second side should be what we tend to achieve at the end of the day. Yeah. And these are the implications for pedagogy and curricular development. I think that should be the title to me anyway. We don't preempt, but at least we get some questions coming out of it.
Okay.
Can you also say the teacher for the future, or future teacher? I think we are building for the teacher for the future.
For building the teacher for the future. It's okay. Yeah.
For the future, like that.
Yeah. So what you do, Martin?
Yeah.
You will have to knock out 1 and 3. So it doesn't confuse, because we have a very short time.
Okay. So you're saying that number 2 is the primary one. This one.
Yeah. So we just focus on one. So
you don't want people to sleep on it. I can put this one in gray.
Yeah.
So okay. Yes. So good.
Yeah. Okay.
Pedagogy and curriculum and education. I think that's fair enough.
Okay. Salvos. So we're good. We can end the meeting. I stop the recording.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good.
This is good.